I just think there's different challenges or things we get to overcome at every level of money as well.
Sure. Yes.
You know what I
New
mean?
level, new devil, right?
Is that right?
Yeah.
So one of the fears is, will the money bury me alive?
Yeah.
Why do you think that is?
Oh, gosh, why do I think that is? I think it's my insecurity about not knowing what to do with it. You know, when I had very little of it, I could manage it, right? That was easy. And then as I started getting more and more, and so I do have pieces in place, but I've hired a new financial team so I can build the nest and it will come. Because I was like, if I don't take care of this, I will literally block it. I will energetically block it if I'm scared of it coming in and think it's going to bury me alive. Like, that is not a abundant mindset, you know?
Sure.
So yeah, so I just created the nest. So now bring it on, universe.
Right.
Yeah.
So now you have a foundation for it to come in.
Yeah. So it's not scary anymore because I know where it's going to go. Yeah. But I realized that I was just like, wow, I am kind of scared of it coming in too much. I know. It's interesting, isn't it? Yeah.
I think it's fascinating. I think we all get to experience at different levels how to break through. Otherwise, wouldn't it be interesting if it was just, I don't know, if there's no obstacle, it'd probably like, you know.
Yeah.
What do you think are the key things that abundant mindset people around money do differently than scarcity mindset people around money? If you had to say 3 or 5 kind of key things.
They appreciate it, as you said. That is a biggie. They appreciate it and they speak about it as they love it. They're not weird about it. They're also generous with it, because when you pinch yourself off from giving, that is sort of a subconscious way of saying there's not enough to go around and it's not going to, I'm not in the flow. So when you don't give generously, it's because you're scared that it's not going to come in anymore. They take risks. You know, you got to take risks. You are where you are because you've been doing what you've been doing. So if you want to change your life, you've got to do stuff you've never done. What else? Wealthy people. They learn about money. Like you focus on money. Like that was such a big thing for me too. Like when I was broke, I never wanted to think about money, right? I was all about writing songs and, you know, doing much, you know, more noble things.
Sure.
But when you're broke, all you think about is money. Like, I don't really think about money that much now that I have it. Like, but every single decision you make when you're broke is about,
do I have enough to pay for this?
Exactly.
Can I afford it? What happens if I don't have it?
Right. You wake up first thing in the morning in a panic because you got to pay your bills. So you're always thinking about money. So it is really just sort of getting in the flow with that and just, you know, being on good terms with it and focusing on it. And, you know, how are you going to make it? Like being realistic about your income streams and, you know, and if you want to make it, you've got to coax it in, you know, give it.
What has been the biggest lesson in the last 10 years? Because that was 10 years ago when you wrote You Are Bad, right? Mm-hmm. And you've written 2 or 3 books since then, I believe. What has been the biggest lesson, 3 books since then?
Yeah.
What has been the biggest lesson in 10 years since You Are Bad to now? Personally, physically, and financially.
Oh, man. Let me think. Okay, the biggest lessons since I wrote You Are Bad.
Because when you get more money, more impact, more celebrity, fame in an industry, people change around you. Some people don't, some people do.
Right.
You get to make different choices with your health.
Right.
In positive or negative.
Right.
You have more abundance to do bad things or good things.
Yeah.
And you get to see how you show up emotionally, spiritually as well.
Yeah, that's such an interesting question. You know, I definitely feel like since it came out and has had the success, you know, that I've gotten better and better at really, this sounds cold, but like not caring what other people think about me. Like that is something that I'm really dedicated to right now, where it's like the 1-star reviews and the 5-star reviews, you know, it's like, believe me, I'm so grateful anybody reads the book, but the 5-star reviews are the real dangerous ones, right? Where you're just like, I'm so cool. People think I'm funny and smart. You know, really getting good inside, like just being like, it doesn't matter as long as I think it's good and I think it's funny and I think it's helpful. That's it. And so that has been really important to me because it is weird. I mean, I'm sure you too, like people know who you are and it's like, it's a little uncomfortable sometimes. I mean, it's great too. Like I love meeting my readers, but it's just like, I can't get too wrapped up in their opinion of me because it's about my opinion of me. So that's been a really big one.
Not So not letting the opinions of others be the opinions of you about you.
Right. Yeah.
Interesting.
Just really coming
The
from
high hype and the low low.
Yeah, definitely. Because you hear a lot about the low lows, like don't focus on the criticism, but you really got to watch it with the 5-star stuff too.
That's
or else,
interesting.
yeah. Because then if it goes away, you're screwed, right? You're totally screwed. I mean, that's why so many celebrities wind up in rehab, especially if I always think about this too, that I'm so glad, for me anyway, that it started when I was older. If I was 20,
oh man,
and I was getting all these accolades, I would be such an idiot. I know, like no way. So I'm really great. I'm so grateful for all of it. My God.
Yeah. Okay,
And
that's
then,
personally. What about biggest
Okay.
lesson financially?
Financially, I guess I love giving money away. Like I really honestly never thought I was that generous of a person, but I am. But so I'm very happy to find that out about myself because I didn't really think that I was. But also that I was just making fun of this morning with a friend of mine that I'm still kind of cheap with myself in ways. Like I'm not great at like, I mean, I have a nice house, I have a nice car, I certainly spend plenty of money on myself, but I can just be like, I'm not good at being rich and like getting room service and like
Right.
spending. I'm still kind of, the Italian immigrant's daughter who sort of pays attention. So not that that's bad, but
It's interesting. I have a little bit of that in me. Although in the last couple of years, I've started to learn how to take care of me, like with travel and food and convenience and saving time.
convenience.
Whereas for, I don't know, the first 5 years of my business, when I was making money, right? It's like, not like I didn't have money, but I was so afraid to lose it also that I was just stacking it. Every time I travel, I would try to find, who do I know in this town that I can sleep on their couch?
Yeah. Isn't it funny?
Because I was like, I'm not going to pay $200 a night for a room. What are you talking about? Like,
Yeah.
I can use that money and I can put it somewhere else.
Yeah.
And I was always like, how do I just get on the cheapest bus fare?
Right?
How do I get like the middle back seat on Southwest? Like, how do I get the $39
Shooting
flight
high. Yeah.
and just sit there for 6 hours in the middle and just, crammed?
Yeah.
As opposed to, convenience and saving time and having my health optimized and using it to do those things. But I was afraid to lose it. So I was just work to make it, but I was afraid to lose it for a while.
Yeah, and also like the value, like and I make myself do, but I hate paying for parking. I would rather, and we're talking like $2 at a meter. Like I'm so weird about that. I'm like,
You'd rather roll on the block 5 times to try to find a free
just
spot.
waste gas, waste my time. Like it's so stupid, but I crack up like, but I also have this thing where like, I'll spend 60 grand to put solar on my house, but I won't spend $15 on a wooden spoon. Like I don't know, so it's just kind of funny catching yourself where you're.
Well, I think there's a power in being mindful with your money and being, I would call it frugal, I guess, maybe in certain ways, but abundant in other ways.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, be abundant in certain ways, but don't just overspend on everything because you have the money.
Yeah, I guess. I know. So
be mindful of certain things.
finding, at whatever level you're at too, like when you don't have money, you also don't want to be pinched off and stingy with it. Like it really is about, this isn't just, 2 people with money talking about it. It really is about figuring out where you're at and how to stay in that abundance mindset and in the flow and leaving an extra dollar when you tip or whatever, but just really catching yourself when you're pinching it off. Because it doesn't matter how much we're talking about, but it's that pinching off. If money is currency and currency is energy and you're pinching it off, that is not going to do well for you.
Blocking it.
Yeah.
What was the big lesson about relationships in the last 10 years? Whether it be friend, colleague, intimate relationship.
Yeah, that people are still really uncomfortable with money. And I do feel like it's being of service to talk about it freely and openly and joyfully. And it totally turns people off all the time, and close friends. Absolutely. But taking a stand and doing it anyway. And really like, I kind of do have to be a little careful because it can be braggy. But again, like if I lost 100 pounds and I was telling you about losing 100 pounds, people would be happy for you. This is the same kind of thing. Like it's something that really is an achievement that helps me be healthy and happy.
Yes.
And why shouldn't I talk about it? And the fact that you're uncomfortable with it doesn't mean I shouldn't talk about it.
Right.
And sink down to your level, right? So that's been interesting. And I have lost friends over that. Absolutely.
Wow. It's interesting because we'll see, on social media, these physical transformations of people. Here was me 6 months ago. Here's me now.
Yeah.
And you'll see a lot of people celebrating that, right?
Yes.
Like, congratulations, it's amazing. It's the encouragement. It's like, look what I was able to do, and I'm so proud of myself.
Mm-hmm.
And I wish more people would do that around money too. Look, like I was $30,000 in debt, and look at my bank statement now. Like,
Yeah.
I'm debt free, and I've got $1,000 in the bank.
Oh my God.
You know, whatever it is. And I think Dave Ramsey celebrates that for people in his, you know, kind of community, where it's like when they get out of debt, he brings them on the radio show and they kind of announce it. But I don't see this on social media that much.
Because that's a safe space. Because everybody who's listening to his show is
Talking about
drank
money.
the Kool-Aid.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah. You do it in the public space, you are going down. Yeah.
Why is that?
I don't really know. I don't know. I think about this too. Like, how did that all get started? When did it become such a dirty thing? I'm sure it has to do with some kind of control. Like, some people
Yes.
wanted to control something. So
Right. I'm curious about, you know, if you're down to go there, about intimate relationships. How has making money impacted you intimately in relationship?
I am definitely, that is my Achilles heel right now. So and it's been a little weird for me because I have stories around being a very successful woman and how that's not so feminine, and how, there's a lot of stuff on that. So that's the new frontier, which I'm super psyched about.
Figuring it out.
Yeah.
What do you feel like is the biggest struggle around that? You know, is it
My own beliefs around it. Totally. Come on now. I know all this. It's all the same thing, you know, but that's a deep one. And it's kind of a new one, you know, because I haven't been a successful woman for a long time. And so it's interesting.
wow?
Yeah.
So is this like, you know, people just are intimidated by you because you have money, or what is that?
That's what I think. Because men are supposed to be the providers and supposed to, you know, be the providers and to be more successful. And I don't really even care about that, you know, but I do care about somebody being at the same level of me spiritually and sort of just, you know, just with what they're into and stuff like that. So that's really important to me.
Interesting.
But, yeah.
'Cause that might be a block for some women. Like, if I make more money, will I be in a great intimate relationship?
I think
if I make more than my partner, right?
Well, the way that it's set up, anyway, that is sort of it, you know, that men, and, you know, so I just got to find a guy who's either who's got really good wealth consciousness, who's as successful, who's totally out there. But it's my own story. It's always your own
Interesting.
story. Yeah.
What would you coach another woman
Who says the same thing?
or who's like, they've got a successful growing business, or maybe they're making $1 million a year in their business or more,
Yeah.
and they're like, man, I've been struggling because
Yeah.
I haven't found a guy who's comfortable with me making this much. They feel like they can't add as much value to the relationship.
Right.
What would you say to that?
Well,
that
of
woman?
course, Lewis, I have had that client, because the second you have an issue, that client shows up. I don't know if you find, like, every time, because I'm doing this group coaching course, and like plenty of people in that group ask me the very questions.
what do you
right?
say?
So it's super easy when it's them. Well, I know. I mean, I know the answer, but am I like really going to live it? Is watch your thoughts. What are you believing about it? What have you decided is true about you, about your environment, about the way the world works? Like, it's all your thoughts. Like, if you keep harping on it's hard, he's not out there, I'm too this, I'm too that, then that is the truth.
That's what you'll manifest or
That,
attract.
you know,
and,
to
yeah.
think what you want to think is to think the truth. So, you know, what you speak, you want to prove, because you want to be right, and it is sort of the foundation of your reality. So when I say I can't afford it 100 times a day, I'm subconsciously pulling in proof. Like, look at the car I'm driving. I'm living in an alley. Like, I make this much money a year. I'm building all the foundational blocks.